Dr. Barbara Provost and Maggie Nielsen created purse strings so all women could live a life free from financial stress and full of choices. As a consultant in the financial industry for over 20 years, Dr. Barb saw firsthand how women were not being addressed. They said, financial professionals don't even look at me. Seeing this and experiencing her own divorce, she started investigating and found that women are not prepared for their financial futures. Maggie Nielsen was getting her MBA and working with Barb and also saw how women were often overlooked and underserved in the world of finance. Women are intentionally left out of the conversation too often, so Maggie wanted to help them use their immense power to their advantage, and now she's the engine behind Purse Strings. Maggie has facilitated over 300 live sessions with financial professionals covering everything from financial foundations to real-life stories and highlighting top financial tips. Their organization, Purse Strings, helps women get the knowledge to make smart financial decisions and is the trusted resource for financial tools and vetted financial professionals who serve women. And today on the Find Me the Money podcast, we are talking about women stepping into their financial power. And this is my first episode with two guests. You two really are a dynamic duo.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us on, Tracy.
Well, you have done so many great events. I've had the opportunity to be part of some of them, and so it's fun to have you back. As you know, we cover different divorce topics, but we focus mostly on money here. So you're obviously the perfect guests to have, given your mission of empowering women in their financial lives. So the big question is, why do you think so many women don't really step into their financial power?
Well, I'll get started on this question. It's a big one because there's a lot of reasons.
Yes.
First and foremost, as we were growing up, and Tracy, you'll probably agree with me that we were never taught about money. Still, financial literacy is not taught in schools for boys or girls, men or women. But nonetheless, women are treated differently about money. They're given very poor money messages from their families, from their culture, from their religion. A lot of it is taboo. We don't talk about money. It's like a dirty little secret. And so money equates silence, equates it's not my responsibility. I'm supposed to give it to somebody else to handle and manage for me. In some households, money equates stress and fights and arguing. So there's so much negativity around money and the ideas of around money as it relates to women. And that's a big nut to crack in order to get women to come forth and really start talking about money.
You know, I have been so annoyed by this meme that is going around about girl math. Number one, I get upset because I think that, you know, when we talk cutesy about let's hide our Amazon purchases under the bed, let's be ashamed about our spending, I don't like that. Or the other approach to girl math is somehow that women are bad with numbers, bad with money. Like, let's not promote this. And when I see women putting that meme out there on social media, I'm like, what are you doing? That's a really damaging message.
Yeah, it's par for the course, right? I mean, we're like cut 1,000 different times from different ways when it comes to women and money, from marketing, from our families, from, TikTok, whatever. But, women, on the other hand, as you well know, Tracy, are very powerful with money. Hashtag Taylor Swift is what I say.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, when you talk about financial decisions that are made in families, women many times do have a big voice when it comes to buying the car or whatever. Sure, we might see that the man is going to do the negotiating and feel like the big guy at the dealership, but the woman has a lot of say in it many times. And so financial decisions are being made by women, but I think we're taught to not talk about it, to not be upfront about that.
Definitely. I mean, women influence 95% of the decisions, the financial decisions in the household. So we definitely have a say, even though if we're not the final one putting down our card or something like that. We are in the know, and sometimes people label us then as the spenders, but we're not always doing the spending, or if we are, it's for those family members and everyone else we're taking care for. We're not just, spending to spend.
Right. So, are women working with financial professionals, or are they just going along with whatever their husbands say, or I've got a guy, we've got it covered? What's happening in that regard?
Gosh, we're not quite there yet, right, Maggie? I mean, we just looked at an article in Forbes, a survey that like 49% or even in the 40s, they go to their friends and family to ask about money questions, and they're not really seeking a financial advisor. But here's the problem with that. Many women don't think they are worthy of a financial advisor. Wouldn't you agree, Mag?
Definitely. Yeah. We find that a lot of women don't go to a financial advisor just because they've never really been, let's say, invited to that table. Or if they have been before, they've kind of been turned away as, you don't have $1 million to invest, so there's nothing I can do for you, which nobody wants to be turned away twice like that. That's not a very empowering feeling. And I think it's 17 to 19% of the financial industry are women. And so it's hard to find those people that relate to. So we find that a lot of women aren't going to financial professionals because they haven't really been invited or welcomed.
It's interesting because I get asked a lot how, if a woman hasn't been involved with the family finances and wants to become involved, how to approach that conversation. And so, I advise saying to your husband, I'm worried. What if something happens to you? I don't know what's going on with the money. I'd like to start understanding where our money is, how much we have, how the bills are being paid. But one of the common responses from husbands is, I have a guy. If something happens to me, he'll take care of you. And I'm finding that women are not pushing that conversation because the next step could be, that is so great that you have a guy for us. I'd like to meet him and sit down with him and understand and know him a bit so that I would be comfortable working with him going forward. And I think those conversations aren't happening.
Well, you know what's so scary about that, Tracy, is all the decisions made with the guy and the husband are going to impact her
Right.
more than they're going to impact him. Because as we know, statistically speaking, men die first. So any of those financial decisions, she's just finally realizing when he's gone, what's in the bag. She's left holding the bag and whatever is in it. She's never been part of that conversation. That's a terrible place to be. And money should always be a joint discussion. Now, Tracy, in the work that you do, you know how tentative those discussions can be depending on your relationships. So, definitely, you need to open the conversation. You have tools, we have tools to help women do that, but it's a must do in any relationship.
Well, how do you recommend getting started with taking back some of that control when you have the woman who doesn't know where the money is or doesn't know how much the mortgage is every month, just doesn't know where things are?
We usually say, start with that curiosity when you kind of talk to your partner versus like accusation. Because you're not saying they did anything wrong. You're just curious about how it's all working and see how you can start diving in and checking those day to day finances and be part of some of those payments. Understand what the guy's name is, his first and last name, how you contact him, and where he's located. When's the last time you had a meeting with him? Starting by collecting just some of these details can help you start grasping and getting a better picture, especially if you haven't been in the financial conversation. There is a lot to take in, so pace yourself. But just jump in and just getting started, we say, is the most important.
Yeah, and I would add that we have a family emergency binder that we can give to your guests. And it's pretty overwhelming because it's got a lot of space for a lot of detail to collect. So you could take something like that, get it printed off at Staples or something like that, put it in a binder, and just kind of say, hey, this is a great opportunity for us to kind of collect in one place some really important information. Should we go out of town and our kids might need it, or just for either one of us? And it houses, our doctor's names, maybe our lawyer's names, our financial person's names, our policy information. How about if we collect this information in one spot so the whole family has a go-to family emergency binder? So it's more of a family task of gathering that data and information, and it walks you through all the information you should talk about. Maybe some of it you don't need, but a lot of it you probably have. And then that way you can start consolidating in one place all of your really important information.
Oh, what if she starts having this conversation and gets completely roadblocked by her husband? You don't need access. You don't need to know. I've got it all taken care of. What do you recommend with that situation?
Have your red flag go up. There's something warning you there. But know that if your name is on the account, you do have access to it. So if it's a bank account, you can go to that bank and get access, get your own username and password, and start there with everything that you do have your name on, and start noting, I would say, the things that you don't have your name on, like maybe the house or maybe some other investments, and start wondering, where these might be and why your name's on it if you've had that discussion.
I definitely think that if you're
Yeah, and we would refer them to you, Tracy.
well, thank you. If you're completely blocked and he says, absolutely not, I'm not sharing the information with you, that's absolutely financial abuse. And
Mhm.
you really need to start thinking seriously about the future of your relationship, for sure. Okay, so you started Purse Strings to help women take back some of this control. Tell us more about purse strings. You've already given some good information, but tell us a little bit more and why women should check you out.
Yeah, so as a consultant in the financial industry for such a long time, I could see firsthand how the industry itself was overlooking women. They continue to overlook women. It's a model built by men for men to sell to men, and because of that, so many women were overlooked. When Maggie and I did focus groups, the one mantra we came away with is, Barb, they don't even look at me.
For sure.
So if you're giving your nest egg over to someone who's not even looking at you or asking you questions or asking you what you want with your money, that's another big red flag that you need to find another advisor. But when asking women, what do you need? Because you will be in charge of your financial future at one point in time. And Tracy, these stats. The average age of a widow is 59. The great divorce is happening at 3 times the rate. Women will be in charge of their finances. Let's not take that step when you have the deer in the headlights. Oh, I'm getting divorced, or all of a sudden I'm suddenly widowed. And so many women have said to me, they've been in that place and they didn't even know how to pay the mortgage because they never paid the mortgage. So we wanted women to get in front of all that. Women are a very powerful market today. They're a $23 trillion underserved market, and they're coming into the largest transference of wealth in history, owning the purse strings of America. So we asked them what they needed, and they said, we need a go to place where we can get information, knowledge, skill, ask questions, be treated with respect and dignity, not told, don't worry about that, honey. We got it in the bag, whatever, but really learn what they need to know to make really smart financial decisions for themselves, their families, their businesses. And then they would say, Barb, if you could find us financial professionals who really understand women, the female market, how we make financial decisions, um, that would be terrific. So we did that as well. We're kind of like the Angie's List of financial professionals for women.
So it's interesting. We have access to more information than we ever have before. We can Google anything and find all sorts of information. But on the financial side, the difficulty that I think that creates is, who do you trust? There's just an overwhelming amount of information. And so I appreciate that Purse Strings has created kind of a one-stop shop and organized it really well with some of the most important resources. So Maggie, can you tell me more about, what are we going to find on the site? What kind of resources are available?
Yeah, definitely. We saw so many people just asking on Facebook or going to a buddy. And we said, this is not always the best way to find someone to manage your life savings. And so we talk to every single professional who's on our website, have a whole conversation of them, of why they do what they do and why do they want to serve women? What is their passion there? And so many of them come with their own stories of seeing their mom be a single mom or a widow herself, or they went through that, or they went through a terrible divorce, and these different things that make them really want to help women and give back. And so we just make sure that they, have all their credentials that they need. We check them, of course, on like broker check, and make sure they don't have any dings or huge red flags that we need to know about. But then we also dive in and make sure that they are serving women, what they're doing differently, to really make sure that the women who do come have the best experience possible, kind of working with their finances and with a financial professional who will look at them.
I love it. So if I go to the website, how is it organized? How am I going to find what I need?
So we organize that a lot by our different life stages, whether you've become a caretaker, you're going through divorce, you're planning for retirement. So you can really dive into our directory and kind of look at professionals that way. And then on each of their pages, it really shows if, their fee structure, or if they have minimums, or if they can serve in your state. That way you can find a professional who can serve you and, really find that best match. And some of them even have on there, why they love to serve women. So you can dive into their story and really connect with that right away, which we love as well.
Okay, what do you see as the future of women as it relates to the purse strings of America?
Well, we see a big shift coming our way. With people like you, Tracy, and with Purse Strings and a lot of the other professionals that we have on the Purse Strings website, other organizations that we're aligned with, we're really helping lift up women. And we always say women build webs of connectivity, not hierarchies. So we're really trying to build a real big safety net for women to come and start talking about money. And as money transfers over to women, again, they'll be holding the purse strings of America with the great wealth transfer. We want to make sure those monies are used wisely and they're not given away. Oftentimes, people come into money will just fiddle it away or give it away because people needed it more than they did. But really leverage that money as an opportunity to prepare themselves for their own good, healthy financial future. So, as an educator, knowledge is power. So we're about educating first and then making sure women are prepared wherever they are in their financial journey with the right information and the right financial support and resources.
I love your mission so much. And I know that you have on the site a lot of free worksheets. What kind of worksheets do you have there that might help the women?
Definitely. We have that one that Barb mentioned earlier of our family emergency binder. So real thick, has everything you need to really make that family emergency plan or just to get all your documents in order. But we also have a great sheet of where's my money going, which we always say no matter what is the first step. You've got to know where your cash is coming in and where it's going out on that month-to-month basis. So it's a great worksheet to get started. And we also have one more worksheet about divorce. And if you're going to start going through the divorce, a list of just some assets you should start looking at and writing down, where they are, some of the different, account numbers or whatever it may be to start gathering that information. So really trying to get different resources for wherever you're at on your financial journey.
I love all of those. And then you also have a course called the Financially Fearless Foundation course. I, of course, have to know more about that.
Sure, I can tell you about that. Well, it's hot off the presses. We've just redesigned it into an ebook. So it's just a simple ebook. It's on sale now for $24.99. Woo woo! It's very inexpensive. But what we really want to do is charge a simple price for women to be able to afford it, but have some skin in the game that they paid for something. And then in these tools, they're going to find walking through everything they need to do to get their financial foundations in order. So it does have that worksheet of where is my money going, but you'll also learn about how to configure your net worth, how to pay down your debt, how to understand your paycheck if you're getting a paycheck coming your way. Nobody looks at their paycheck anymore, and it really has an impact to your income if you don't really understand who's taking money from your paycheck and why and where that's going and how that impacts your taxes. So we go through all of that step by step, but then we also teach around, making smart goals and setting yourself up for a healthy financial future, but it's also jam-packed with tons and tons of great resources in terms of other podcasts that we recommend, books, things like that.
Well, we are, of course, going to link in the show notes to your worksheets, to the Financially Fearless Foundation course. We'll have a link to your website as well as your YouTube channel because that's a great place to find all sorts of sessions that you've done with the financial professionals. This went fast. It was a great conversation. Thank you so much for all the tips and resources that you provided today.
Yeah, we love it. We love talking about purse strings.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. This was a great opportunity.